Hello, in today's video I'm going to be talking about something that's kind of been bugging me for a little bit involving 3D printing, especially when it comes to people new to the hobby. And it's something I've mentioned on some recent live streams. I think the way we're trying to get people into the hobby and the advice we're giving is wrong, and it's turning a lot of people off the hobby. So let's get started. So first things first, I've been involved with 3D printing for over 4 years now. I've done YouTube videos for most of that time. However, I've really been into doing YouTube videos for the past 2 years and being full-time now as a content creator centered around 3D printing content for almost 3 months now. One of the common things I get asked is, what should I get as my first 3D printer? And the mantra for the longest time was always sort of either just buy a Prusa or buy something cheap. Go get a $99 Ender 3 Pro from Micro Center or whatever cheap 3D printer you can get, because if you get a broken printer, by fixing it, you will be better at 3D printing. And really now, after giving that advice out and being on the receiving end of questions that I get after giving that advice out, I really think we're recommending the wrong printers to people new to 3D printing. And I'll explain. So really, in my opinion, there's 3 people that get involved in 3D printing. Those that do it for either work or school, people who want to print things, and people who want to tinker. I know I love to tinker. I probably get more fun out of building and maintaining 3D printers than I actually do printing on them. Most of the things I print are parts for 3D printers. So I definitely fall into the tinkerer category. However, I know a lot of people that just want to print. They just want to make benchies and flexi dragons and whatever the random flavor of the month print on R3DP is, or whatever print is viral on TikTok at the moment. And many times I get people asking me questions about their brand new 3D printer. The extruder's not working, they can't get a first layer good, they can't get the bed level. And really, it's because they're buying very cheap machines, because that's what the community recommends. If you look at any guide on what 3D printer to get for a newbie, you'll often see an Ender 3 or some other V-wheel bed flinger derivative with very simple features on it as one of the most recommended printers, because they're cheap and people are cheap. It's just true. Now, don't get me wrong. If you are somebody who is a tinkerer and you want a project, getting something that needs a little, tuning to get working isn't really a wrong thing to recommend. However, I know many people, especially those that get into 3D printing because they just want to print things, that have dropped the hobby altogether because they went and bought that cheap 3D printer and they can't even get a successful print off of it. And it's no fault of their own. A lot of these cheap printers, the V-wheel bed flingers, and there's many of them, very thin beds, the extruders are not the best. You have misalignment with things. With the bed itself, it's not flat. If you look at your bed topography and it resembles a Tony Hawk Pro Skater level, you're not going to get consistent first layers. You're not going to have successful prints. A lot of cheap printers don't have great bed surfaces to begin with. So when it comes to recommending a first 3D printer, I've kind of shifted my gears a little, and I still won't recommend one specific brand, because unfortunately there is too many variety out there of what people are looking to get out of a 3D printer. Printers go on sale all the time, new printers come out. Printers that were once good get costed down by the manufacturer and are no longer good. So I really can't recommend buy this or buy this. But what I can say is what I recommend to look into for a 3D printer. Now, a little while ago, I did do a video, it was a little over 20 minutes long, going into what things you should look for in a 3D printer. But I'm going to kind of revise that and give you a short breakdown of what I really recommend now on getting for a first 3D printer, especially for somebody who has no printing experience. Because at this point, I don't want to see another person get into this hobby with a cheap printer and then abandon the hobby because the cheap printer has failed them. And I know there are those out there that say, oh, it's okay if your printer's on level, just go buy a sheet of glass, go upgrade the extruder. Oh, the fan duct sucks, go print a new one. I'm at the point now where I will say, you should recommend a printer to a newbie that should work out of the box and should not require any modification. Because even though your cheap printer may have worked right off the bat, not all of them do. And with quality control and some companies being very lacking, a lot of the times I see people get that cheap printer. It just does not work, or it works for 1 or 2 prints and then something goes wrong. And they don't want to keep fixing something every couple of weeks or months or even days. So what do you look for in a 3D printer? 1, it should be cost effective to the point where if you avoid the hobby, if you drop the hobby after a couple months, you don't want anything to do with it, and it sits in a closet, you're not going to take a big financial hit. So unfortunately, that knocks out a lot of really good printers that are also expensive. But you don't want to go too cheap, because if you go too cheap, you're going to get printers that are costed down, that are going to have issues. Obviously, if you join any group for any of the cheaper printers out there, there's probably going to be a list pinned right at the front of things you should upgrade immediately. That's going to add to your costs. So I'm of the opinion, don't buy somebody else's problem, okay? You don't buy somebody else's resto car that they've been wrenching on for 30 years and they're still not half finished, because you're probably going to have to redo everything they've done. Don't buy a cheap printer that's broken and have to fix it yourself. Now, to go along with that, I'm not saying go buy the cheapest printer, obviously. However, there are printers that hold their value. A Prusa i3 Mark III is a printer that holds its value. So if you start off with a printer like this, which has a bunch of features we'll get into later, and you find out the hobby is not for you, you can easily flip one of these on a Facebook Marketplace, Kijiji, Craigslist. So the TLDR with cost, buy something that you can afford, that if you get out of the hobby, you don't take a large financial hit, or purchase something that you know has a good resale market for. Now moving on, what features to look in the printer? I know a lot of people like size. Going big is awesome. You can print full helmets right off the bat. You can print massive prints, you don't need to break it out. However, with large printers comes large downsides, especially on cheaper printers. Cheaper printers at large size magnify the problems. You think you can't get a 180 millimeter bed level when it's warped? Imagine doing it on a 400 millimeter bed. So only get as big of a printer as you need. 180 to 250 I think is a very good size point to aim for a first printer. Yes, you're not going to be able to print that Mandalorian helmet, but unless you plan on printing a lot of Mandalorian helmets, getting a large printer to print them continuously, just get a mid-sized printer and print them in different parts and attach them together. Now, we're going to use the Prusa as an example here. It does come highly recommended by many, but it is a more expensive printer. But it's a very newbie-friendly printer, and I'm going to touch on something that I think any printer that you recommend to somebody new in 3D printing should get on their first printer. Bed mesh leveling. You need a bed sensor, okay? When you buy a cheaper printer, the odds of your bed not being perfectly flat increase. When you have a bed probe, not only does it make chasing down bed tramming a heck of a lot simpler, when your bed is unlevel and it looks like that Tony Hawk Pro Skater level, it allows the printer to compensate for it. You're no longer having to watch that first layer and adjust knobs. You're no longer having a print fail because while this corner is good and this corner is good, the middle is low or high. A bed mesh should be on any printer you recommend to a newbie, because when you recommend a printer to a newbie, you should be recommending something that fully functions. And if you are unable to get a good first layer on a print, you're unable to get a good print, which means the printer isn't a printer, it's a spaghetti maker, okay? We're not making pasta here, we're trying to make benchies, okay? Other things, direct drive or Bowden drive. Personally, direct drive I find is a lot easier to tune for good print quality. It's a shorter feed path, you have more control over how the filament comes out of the nozzle with it. It's not required though. There are many good printers out there that are Bowden, there are many good printers out there that are direct feed. If you want the simplest option, I do say go direct feed. You'll be able to tune your printer a little bit easier, but it's not a requirement. Bed surface. Go with a flex plate. Try and get a printer with a removable flex plate. One, it's a lot easier to get the prints off. And two, I have seen people take perfectly good flat beds and turn them into tacos because they printed something too close to their bed, it got too stuck, and while trying to chisel it out with a spatula, they dished their bed. A lot of these thin beds that come on printers are 1/8 aluminum or thinner. And when you're really scraping down on it and putting force on it, trying to get that print off, because your printer does not have a flex plate, you can very easily dish your bed. And if you don't have a bed probe, good luck getting it level again. Electronics and power supplies. Keep an eye out for printers that are known to have faulty issues. The good old ANET A8, as you are familiar, has burnt houses down. I really don't recommend getting an ANET or A8. If you are looking at getting a printer of a lower end price, take a look at the community groups or public forums of 3D printing and see if others have had issues with that printer. The last thing you want to do is take your shiny new toy into your house and burn your house down with it. So keep the safety in mind. Try and avoid printers that have safety issues in the past. And support. if you're trying to help somebody get into the hobby of 3D printing, do you want to support them? Do you want a random Facebook group to support them, or do you want the company to support them? You have many different options there. It really depends on the person you're speaking to and what they're looking to get out of 3D printing. If they're looking to do 3D printing for work or school, recommend them something that has full 24/7 support, like Prusa or Ultimaker, that have warranties. That way, if something goes wrong, you're not relying on a random dude on Facebook to hopefully reply to your message with, hey, my printer's broken, I have a deadline to meet, how do I get it working again? You're probably not going to get that kind of support from some cheap B-wheel bed flinger you bought off AliExpress. And communities around 3D printers can be great. I am a member of the Voron design team. We have something like 25 or 30,000 people on our Discord. There's a lot of help you can find there. So if you are looking to get into a 3D printer, especially one that's new to the market that has no community around it, especially if their company doesn't really have support, you may want to hold off on it. Yes, it might be the cheapest printer out there with the features you want, but if it's brand new to the market, there's nobody that really has it except maybe a few reviewers, you may want to hold off on it a bit. You don't know how it'll pan out in the long run. Many a time I have seen enticing 3D printers out there that have had good reviews, but once production units start hitting the market, customers are not happy with them, or the community folds, or the company itself folds. So I do recommend sticking with established manufacturers, especially for your first 3D printer. Now, obviously, what I've been saying here doesn't apply to everyone. There are so many different variables out there. But at the end of the day, a printer of mid-size with a company that is reputable, that has a bed probe or some way to do a bed mesh, has a removable flex plate, has safe electronics, and has a community around it that supports the printer that's been out for a little bit, that's really something I would recommend for looking for as your first 3D printer. Make sure it's within a price range that you find acceptable, that if the hobby is not for you, you're okay with eating the loss of it if it sits in a closet for the rest of your life, or get a printer that you know is a good printer that you can easily resell if you find out the hobby is not for you. If you want to tinker, I do recommend starting with a printer that works out of the box, at least at first, because with 3D printing, 2 is 1 and 1 is none. It's always good to have a backup printer. So if you want to tinker, get a good printer to start, and then go and buy that fixer-upper printer to play around with, because at least you know you have one good printer that can replace parts on your broken printer while you fix it up. Or do what I do, build 3D printers from scratch. There's many open source 3D printer designs out there, and personally I get more fun out of building something from hand, completely from scratch, and looking at that final result when it's finally printing versus going, wow, I put some really good lipstick on that broken printer. So these thoughts and opinions are my own. Obviously, there's going to be people that disagree. If you do disagree, or if you have anything to add to this conversation, add them in the comments below. Don't forget, I do live stream 3 days a week, so if you don't want to miss out those live streams, we can chat live. Make sure you're following the channel, make sure you're subscribed to the channel, and on your way out, go in the description there, like that smash button, and if you want to help support the content I create and the things I do, I have links in the description as well. I hope you learned something new today, and as always, have yourselves a great day. Cheers.